Now we're going to continue to work with strings. So we're going to assign a string, and we're just going to call this string junk. And now we're going to enter some junk. And let's just kind of do kind of a common common string here. We're going to say the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Okay. And the first thing we're gonna try with it is using a if to locate certain substrings within the string. So we're going to go if fox. Let's say we're interested in fox, and we could put dog or we could put cat. Any of these. But we're using fox, and we're say if fox in the name of the string, which is junk. And if this does occur, if we do find the substring fox within the string junk, what we're going to do is we're gonna just print something out. We're going to say found it. But let's add to this. Let's add else condition. And if for whatever reason we don't find it, fox isn't in there. Although it looks like it's going to be in there. But if it isn't in there, we're going to print something else. We're going to go print, and we're going to say did not find it. Okay. So what we have going on here is an if condition where we're using in to go look to determine if this substring, this small portion of the string fox, can be found within the larger string junk. And if so, print out found it. So now let's run this. It's going to ask us to save. And let's find something to save to. And it ran through here. And we have the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It goes through here and says, yep, indeed, we have fox within the string junk. But if we were to put something like cat, we would expect that it will come and say nope, and then hit this else condition. But let's verify. Okay. So now you see when we changed it to cat, it searches through the string and says, hey, there's no cat in this string. I'm going to hit my else condition and say did not find it. So that's how, with an if and an in, you could go through and look through a string for various substrings, or parts of phrases. I mean, if your string is huge, you could look and grab out one sentence. Maybe it's a paragraph and you're looking for one sentence or some sort of explanation point or whatever you're looking for. You can search through it using this technique right here. So now I'm gonna switch over and we're gonna try another technique. I'm gonna change that back to fox, and we're gonna loop through characters in the string, and this is kind of cool. So if I go for character in junk, print character. Okay. So with the for, we're going to go one character at a time through junk and print it out. So what will we get? Okay. See what this did? It went through there and printed out everything. That character is not. I'm going to use I. It's just what we're using to basically loop through the indexes. So we could just as well put I. Let's run this again. And we have the same thing. Because what really the important thing here is the for and the in. And that's going to loop one, just one position at a time through whatever string you give. And initially I just called it character, so we knew it was a character at a time, but you could call it whatever you want, as long as it's not another Python reserved word. And this can become really handy for going through strings, or if you're using a giant string to do some kind of control or process in the program, you could just loop through it with your control statements. Just very useful. I'm going to comment this out because as much as I do think that's kind of cool when we run this, it's going to it just uses a lot of real estate here. It shoots way down here, and it's going to make it difficult for us to see our other things later. So I'm going to comment our looping out, and let's mess with our string a little more. And we're going to let's say junkyard. Okay, we're gonna call assign junk to junkyard, and we're going to look at some of the methods that we have to use with string. And so we're going to go if junk, which is our string, which we defined above, is alpha. And this is kind of useful because I end up in real world situations using like the is alpha is digit more often when I'm dealing with data. If you're doing a lot of data analysis, and sometimes things are picture perfect, like they may be in a classroom setting, but a lot of times what you're getting in for something, survey or some sort of data that comes into you, it's not always going to be all numeric or all alpha, and a lot of times you may have to do some sort of processing in there or some determination to make this data look good. In an ideal world, data is always good. Alpha field will always be alpha fields, and numeric fields should be numeric. But it's surprisingly, when you're dealing with some sort of data collection, a lot of times you get surprises. And is alpha is a great way to look at a string and see if it's all alpha data. So let's finish this off here. So if it is, we're going to print is alpha. Okay. And by looking at what we have here, it looks like it should be. I'm going to go further with the comments out. I'm going to go comment crazy because this stuff looks like it might hamper our data. So we're assigning junk here, but then we're reassigning it so it doesn't matter, and we have just junkyard and all caps, and we're using the string method is alpha to see if it's alpha. So let's run this, and it says yes. Okay. Let's try something again. So if we go put these 7s in there, and we run it and we get nothing. We didn't have an else there, so all this does, if it is alpha data, alphabet data, it's going to print something. If it deems it to be numeric numbers or other non-alpha, it does nothing. And that's what happened here because we changed it to 777. So we're going to change it back. And we're going to add some more here, and we're going to check it. With a digit. So is digit. And if we do have a digit, we're just going to go print and we're going to say is digit. Okay. So this might be a little better. It's going to tell it what it is. We have a couple if statements to catch some of the things that might happen. So you run it through. It first goes here. It says is alpha. Keeps going, hits this, and is digit, and doesn't do anything. So if we were to go back to the 777s, what we get is the is digit. It goes here and says no, so it doesn't do the condition in this if. And then the second if with the is digit, it looks and says yes, this is a digit, and then it prints is digit. Okay, so I'm going to change that back to junkyard. And another really cool thing, which is fairly useful, is the lower. And if you notice, oops, that this string, as defined here, is all caps. It's just a junkyard, just all caps. If we use the string method lower, and we're not going to reassign it or anything, we're just going to do it in the print, it should turn it to lowercase. And it does. And lower and upper can be very useful. And a lot of times in standardization, like you're trying to match on addresses and let's say you have an address, you're trying to join up on these addresses. In one address is State Street with capital STATE, and the other is lowercase. And it's often good to when you're grabbing in names, same way with names, knock them all to lowercase or uppercase, and then do some sort of match, because if you have any kind of free-form enters anywhere, you sometimes end up in a case where you have similar things and you're trying to join this data together or determine if it's the same address or same person, yet when you do a comparison with them, they're not going to match because one uses caps in it some point and the other doesn't. And this is a great way to just go all lowercase on a string, and a lot easier for comparison if people you saw in your whatever you got your source data from had the ability to use both upper and lower case. Used a lot, like I said, in being able to standardize things, whether it's address or a name or whatever. Okay. Now let's get back to the top one. I'm just going to copy this over here. As much as I like typing out the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, we were just going to copy it. Okay. So another neat thing is the find method. So we're going to assign something we call location or loc, and we're going to go find, and we're going to say fox. And so what this is going to do is it's going to find the location or index of where fox is in the string. So let's run this. Okay. So it found fox at location 16. So if you go up here and eventually you get to 16, where fox is. So this can be really useful when you're doing trying to locate various things. And a lot of times with you may be locating and doing substitutions and replacements. Just comes in handy in a lot of situations. Another one that I end up using a fair amount. Let's set a new one, and we're going to call this new junk equals. And you probably do similar things to what we're going to show you probably all the time in Microsoft Word documents, in a lot of other things when you're trying to change some and replace it with other. Let's say you had a giant Microsoft Word document and you had address wrong and you wanted to replace that address with the new address. You could do a find and replace. There's a similar thing in Python that we can use, and we're going to look at that right now. So if we go replace and in the string junk, and so it's the method, and we're going to say we're going to want to replace fox with cow. So what this is saying is it's going to run through the entire string, and wherever it sees fox, it will replace fox with cow. So then we're going to print the new string, which is new junk. New junk. Okay. So this should basically give us back the same string, but fox should be replaced with cow. Let's run this. And that appears to be exactly what happened. It ran through here and replaced it with cow. Yeah, this is one that is very very useful. Use it quite a bit, especially for if you're doing as a data scientist, you're doing some data analytics, in the in the data that you get is not totally pristine in the way you'd like it, and a lot of times you can do this to replace sections, knock out things in there that might be giving you trouble, and replacing it with what you need. So very useful, just like it's very useful in a Word document or anything else. Find and replace, very good tools that Python supplies you with.